In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful guitar melody. Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an amazing Afro beat where I'm going to create a really cool guitar melody, and I'm going to try to add some unique elements. And I'm going to try to create something which is similar to the track from Tems, Me and You, which I think is an amazing and unique track. So let's dive right in. So at first, let's adjust the BPM to 109, for example, and then I'm going to open up Contact. So I'm using the latest one, Contact 7, which contains some amazing guitars, very realistic ones. So guitar, and let's pick the Sunburst Deluxe. I'm going to create a custom preset right now. So I want to play it on mono, and let's adjust this one to finger right here. And then let's open up amps. So we're going to add an effect. So for example, twang this one, which adds a little bit of distortion. So now let's start off by drawing in the guitar melody. So I'm going to start off by adjusting the key. So for example, let's pick another root note, which is for example C sharp. I'm going to start off right here. And right now let's draw in some root notes. So C, E, and for example A. That's it. So now we're going to copy this one. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Make sure it fits the scale. Copy it over again. And then we're going to transpose it one octave up and then drag it to the right. Very, very simple. We're going to do exactly the same thing. And now we're going to create a chord. So for example, E, adjust this one to G, and this one to C. So I've adjusted this back to poly, so we can play multiple notes at the same time. That's it, we're going to copy it over, and then we're going to add a final chord at the end of the 7 bar right here. Let's adjust those ones, for example. Let's adjust them right here. Add a third note somewhere. So let's say we pick this F. Okay, that sounds really cool. So now let's extend the notes. We're going to tweak it. And the best way how to tweak it and make it sound more humanic is by playing around with the position of every note. So not all the notes play at the same time. You could simply do this by selecting none and then just play around with the notes at random. So just drag a little bit to the right, to the left, something like this. And then make sure to play around with the length, so just drag it all the way. So just extend some. So right now, for example, you could randomize it, using the randomizer. In this case, let's lower down the velocity so it sounds a little bit softer. Something like this. So we're now playing around with the guitar melody even more, of lower down the velocity a lot, so it sounds softer. And I'm making sure I'm creating something which goes upward. So the first and the second note are very, very soft. And then 2 notes which play near each other contain some more volume or power. So let's have a listen. Instantly creates another, adds another vibe to the guitar melody. Sounds really cool. So now let's clone this one. And then we want to add that typical effect when you, for example, touch the body of a guitar. And you could easily do this by adding one right here. So it's this one. And make sure it's not perfectly on the grid. And you also add it right here. And then you want to make sure it's just a detail in the background. So you want to make sure it's not that loud. Something like this. Very soft. but make sure it's still in the background. So right now we want to add some more low frequencies. So I'm going to use Serum to create a bass line. So I'm opening it up. I'm going to create this one from scratch. So I'm going to increase the unison by 4 and this one by 2, making sure this one is at -1 octave, -2. And then I'm going to create a low 24. So basically just the low frequencies are coming through. And then I'm adding some detune. So creating this very generic bass, which is used in a lot of those tracks. So right now, just draw on the root note. So I'm making sure it's online again, quantize it. That's it. Very simple bass line, just following the root notes. And then I'm pitching it down 1 octave to make sure it contains enough low frequencies. Goes perfect together, very simple. So now let's add some percussion loops, because right now I think it's time to define the main rhythm for the percussions. And I want to create something similar to the track from Tems. So I'm gonna open up Splice and just drag in some random clap samples. So I found some random loops. I'm gonna make sure they stretch the tempo of the project. For example, this one, which is a head loop. Then this one is a clap loop. Also make sure it fits the tempo of the project. Very simple. Maybe you reduce the volume even more. Then I found this loop. So now let's define the rhythm even more by adding some main percussions, for example, rim and snare. So I'm going to use the African producer bundle. If you haven't checked out 303 samples, make sure to check out the link in the description. And these samples are perfect when it comes to creating both Amapiano and Afro beats. So for example, let's open up the African drum kit. So let's say use this one. And then let's draw in a random pattern. That's it, still sounds way too harsh. And again, to add some more dynamics to the beat, make sure you already randomize it. I'm lowering down the volume in this case. Maybe pick another rim. So I really like to use this one. So making sure I'm getting really creative when it comes to adding the rims in this case, because I think this is going to be a beat which contains not that much elements. So now I'm going to maybe mess around with this one. So now let's add some percussions, for example, this one. So something regarding the timing wasn't exactly right. So right now I fixed it. Right now I'm looking for a simple tom which contains some low and mid frequencies, which I can add right here. Something like this. But still it's missing something. Playing around with the pitch of the samples. I right now want to add some more clap layers because I think right now it's still missing one element. So let's add this one, sounds very unique. Something like that. So in the end I switch up the rhythm. I'm going to add some reverb. But first I think let's clone this one. Maybe use another one just in the background. Playing around with the pitch of the claps. So I think right now it's still very unique and it took me a long time to create this, but right now I feel like it's coming together. So right now just link the drums to the mixer. I'm going to add some reverb to this clap and I'm just going to use the Fruity Reverb 2. That's it. Later on, I'm gonna balance this one for sure. But right now, I think it's time to add the main kick. And in this case, I want to pick a very soft kick. So I'm gonna use this one, kick 4, which still contains a little bit of attack. So this punch in the beginning of the sample, and when adding those drums which don't contain a lot of low frequencies, I think this is definitely necessary. So I'm starting on very simple. Still missing something, so I think I'm gonna add another shaker loop. So let's open up shaker loops. So let's add this very generic one. Oh. Just make sure it blends very well together by adjusting the volume. So now I'm going to link all those layers to the mixer. I'm gonna tweak them a little bit because some of the elements are just way too loud. So I reduce this one, for example. Pitch this one to the right, left. So separate them. That's it. Very, very simple mixing trick. I think this is it. So definitely have to tweak some of the percussions. For now, I'm just gonna move on, adding the next elements. So like in the track from Tems, I want to add some cinematic elements. So in this case, I'm gonna use Contact. I find a very cinematic thumb, for example. So maybe action strikes. Let's say we pick hits, cinematic thumbs. I think this one is exactly what I'm looking for. That's it. You can add this one using different pitches when it comes to the thumbs. And then I want to make sure it plays the exact same rhythm as the kick. So copy it over. Maybe add one note right here. And then I'm adding another one right here just to switch it up like this. So that's it. I think it sounds great. So cinematic thumb. So now let's add some swing around 15% in this case. Or now I want to add another cinematic sample. So I feel like this effect is a great fit. That's it. But I still want to add something which is a complement to those thumbs. Because I think right now maybe it sounds too empty. So I want to add some more energy to this beat. So I just found these samples, this one, and then I'm going to I don't like this one, so I'm going to remove it. So I'm pitching it up because I think right now it contains too much low frequencies. So I'm definitely going to use this one later on in the arrangement. So now I think one of the final elements is adding a log drum. And so I want to create something very similar to the track from Tems. So I'm going to use a log drum, which is very, very simple. So I'm going to open up the Fruity DX10. And I'm going to use a simple preset from the African Producer bundle right here. Log drum, drum kit. And let's say preset 4. Then let's disable those ones. So these are going to be the notes which we're going to add for the log drum. So that's it. Copy it over. And make sure this one goes together with the bassline. So that's it. And now it's still missing some low frequency. So I'm going to use the Fruity DX10 again. And let's use an element which contains a lot of low frequencies. So basically you have two options, which is the FM sub and the eFlute. So in this case, I'm picking the eFlute, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then pitch it down 1 octave. That's it, exactly what I'm looking for. So definitely have to tweak it so it stands out even more. But I think right now this is the best solution for adding low frequencies. So right now I've added all the elements and right now I'm going to arrange it and show you the final result in a second. So guys, this is the final project. This one took me a long time to tweak all the elements, but I think in the end the outcome is really, really cool. So now let's have a listen to the final result. Added some reverb to the guitar to add some more ambience, which I think is something you definitely have to add to a guitar melody like this. Just the drums coming in. Also added some reverb to the clap loop. I think a perfect intro. Bassline coming in. Adding another clap loop, just switching it up even more. Added a cinematic drum right here. Switching it up right now. And that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out the full beat, the link will be in the description. It will be uploaded to my second channel. So if you like the samples which I've used in this tutorial, make sure to check out the Afro Infinity Drum Kit or the Afro Producer Bundle. They contain all the samples you need for creating awesome Afro beats. And with all this being said, I hope you have a great day, create some awesome beats, and see you next week.